12:01 a.m. on January 17, 1920, national prohibition begins. Liquor stores, saloons, breweries, and distilleries close their doors.
The distillery on the hillside now is still. The men, they take their tipple from the ripple of the rill. The boys go home sober, and their mothers don't cry. Glory, hallelujah, Uncle Sam is going to stay dry. It was because...
But as the moral crusaders celebrate the start of Prohibition, the moonshiners are cranking out thousands of gallons of illegal whiskey. National prohibition isn't an obstacle for them. It's an opportunity to reap greater profits.
America's going to have the whiskey one way or another. Now, whether it comes from the bootlegger, the moonshiner, or anyway, they're going to have it any way you look at it.
For many during Prohibition, moonshining is a means of survival. When legal distilleries close their doors, thousands of old-time distillers find themselves out of work. Forced to fend for themselves, they head into the woods, build their own stills, and make white lightning.
One day you're a distiller, the next day you're a criminal. They had large families. The way of making money was gone. The people who were cutting down the oak for the staves, they were out of a job. The people who were raising the corn was out of a job. The people who worked on the bottling line were out of a job. And it was just major, major financial problems around here.
My daddy, he made shine, keep kids from starving, I guess, or send us to school and buy shoes for us. He was doing what he had to do. He was not a criminal.
These people's names weren't Bugsy or Scarface. They were very nice, very respectable people. They saw the government as having made them a criminal.
But for every moonshiner just trying to get by, there are several others interested only in profits. Unconcerned about quality, these cagey moonshiners switch the main ingredient in their whiskey from corn to cheaper sugar.
In the early stages, they made good whiskey. They made corn whiskey. And then later on, someone found out if you add sugar to it and whatnot, you could get a bigger production, a bigger yield, and more of it, but not as good a whiskey. So most of the people then weren't anxious about the quality of whiskey, it was the quantity of whiskey.
For about $5, a moonshiner could purchase 100 pounds of sugar and turn it into 10 gallons of white lightning. He could then sell it for $20 a gallon and profit up to $200 per run.
Make a lot of money, a lot of money. If you had a 200-gallon barrel and put in 200 gallons of water, 200 pounds of sugar, 40 pounds of wheat bran, and a cake of yeast, maybe a pound of yeast, let it ferment for 3 days, make a lot of whiskey.
Moonshiners in just one small Virginia county turn out nearly 1 million gallons of illicit booze a year, half the yearly output of the Jim Beam distillery before Prohibition. Only one thing separates the moonshiner from large profits: the law. The monumental task of policing the nation falls on 1,500 federal agents of the Prohibition Unit. They fan out across the country to bust bootleggers and destroy illicit stills. But these agents are poorly paid, and many are seduced by the lure of moonshine money. Corruption is rampant.
The salary was $1,800 a year when Prohibition started. They could get $500 a day for calling in on a certain specified day sick. So in 4 days, they could make their yearly salary.
It was kind of a tongue-in-cheek type thing. You could go to a blind pig in Detroit, and you'd see the Prohibition agent and his favorite blind pig, and he had he'd have a summer home and a winter home, and drive a Cadillac.
It is estimated that the few honest Prohibition agents are only able to apprehend about 5% of the 800 million gallons of illegal liquor flowing through the country every year. They had no better luck stopping the millions of Americans from consuming these outlaw spirits. Where jazz booms and the Charleston is all the rage.
If you knew